March 31st, the faith of Abraham. Being fully convinced that what he had promised, he was able to perform. Romans 4:21. When my son was young, he climbed onto the roof of a small shed in the yard of a friend's house. After enjoying the view, he asked me to help him get down. I offered to catch him if he would jump into my arms. I coaxed, I pleaded, I cajoled, and I persuaded, but to no avail. He wasn't jumping, and that was that. My daughter, 2 years younger than my son, saw what was going on and asked if I would put her up onto the roof of the little building so that she could jump and have me catch her. While the illustration is a little imperfect, not everyone is comfortable with jumping from heights under any circumstances. It made a point about faith. Intellectually, my son had no doubt I would try to catch him if he jumped, but there was no way he was going to jump into my arms. He was not convinced that things would work out as I had insisted they would. Paul wrote about Abraham's experience when describing the reality of faith. After God had spoken with him regarding his promise that the aged patriarch would father a child, Abraham was fully convinced that what he had promised, he was also able to perform. God promised Abraham he would father a child in the most unlikely of circumstances, and Abraham believed God. He was convinced that God could do what he had promised he would do. When God makes you a promise, faith simply says, God is able to do what he has promised to do. When God promises forgiveness, faith says, I am forgiven. When God promises you a new start, faith replies by saying, God has given me a new start. When you need strength or patience or courage or anything else, if God has promised you these things, real faith simply believes that God is able to do what he has promised. Faith is believing the promises of God and then expecting God to do exactly what his promises say he will do. You can have real faith in God today.